Ladies and gentlemen, another match of Acropolis number 3's Tribunal Stage awaits us. We are finishing up the round of 4. After this, there's only 2 more matches to be played in the whole damn tournament. And of course, it will be a lovely time, because we're going to be qualifying 2 players directly to the Battlement stage. We've got ArbuzBudesh, heavy favorite in this particular mirror matchup, as our red Protoss in the top left of Mass Destruction, his map pick. SmrtyCakes is up here in the top right. Is he... I don't even know what color this is. I'll say Beaster Brown, but it was dark olive. There you go. All right, and he is going to be going Gateway. No surprises there. I'm not sure what to expect in this series. I'm guessing Smarty will be going his usual Gateway smash. So let's quickly talk about the map pool here. The pick ban is in. Obviously, the maps that went live that were banned immediately, Check Stealer and Brainstorm, interesting bans there. Arbuz going for Mass Destruction, he apparently quite likes it. Blackwater Bastion will be map number 2, so some 4 spawners to open us up here, with Near Impact being our 3rd map. Now, if it's not final, if we go longer than that, it'll be Kingwa Valley and Serenity, as Radium and Decapitation were removed from the map pool, so... well, there you go. Make of that what you will. We do have a 2-gate versus 2-gate opener so far, with both players going for that vaunted Hierophant. And Smarty kind of wiggling around here, wondering where his opponent is. He's going to be going down the south bottom right area. We'll see if he ends up box scouting or what. I guess what you can do is the same way that Terran likes to do their scout on 4 spawn maps, and then the Vulture will go to the spot that they didn't end up scouting, assuming they have the Vulture up in time for that. That's an option there for Protoss, where they can use the Hierophant. So he's going to go to the bottom right, and then, he's actually making a Legionnaire, and his Hierophant is not leaving the building either. Gateway number 3 on the way for Arbuz. Or for Smarty, rather. Arbuz still sticking it out on 2-gate, and has a decent enough bank. I am going to go ahead and take a wild guess that he's going to be going for a Nexus. I'm excited about this matchup because SmrtyCakes previously defeated Kasuga in a 5-game set where he almost got reverse swept, and a lot of it was down to his antics with the the gateway spam, right? The 4-gate, 5-gate, 6-gate all-ins. Smarty not able to ever take a Nexus or anything. Maybe not in that entire series, it's hard to remember. But Arbuz is going to be going big and bold immediately with the Nexus, so we'll see how he wants to navigate this, because I'm sure Smarty will scout this eventually. And when he does, he's going to make the decision to move out. Now, 4 Legionnaires and a single, funnily enough, a single Hierophant are moving across the map. I guess the Legionnaire that was made by Smarty was canceled? It was queued up and never finished? I don't see it on the map anywhere. All good there, though. Now we're going to see the focus fire here. Of course, right-clicking immediately onto the Hierophant is a good move. Problem is that, especially with that round of units here, Smarty is not in any danger of actually dying. So he's going to have to be considerate as he, as Arbuz ends up exiting there. Makes total sense. He's not going to be able to actually finish the job there. Got double Zealot. We got 5 Ecclesiast and a 4th Gateway. Okay. Scribe finally arrives, only to get swatted down. Dracodons are coming out in some force. Now, this is a unit that we haven't really seen that much of, but I guess the game theory behind Mass Drac versus Gateway openers kind of works out. Smarty will, of course, know that the Nexus is there, that there's a pylon. The static defense is a little bit late, but that's okay because the attack is nowhere to be seen. And defanging it with the Hierophant is going to be a very expensive and time-consuming situation there for sure. Adding another static defense structure to the mix. So we've got a little trifecta here. So the Bulwark, it'll look like kind of like a cut-down shield battery, and that's exactly how it operates, essentially. Every so often it releases a pulse of shield healing. And then the Matrix restores shields around itself and its target every time it attacks. So that's that round. And then, of course, we got the Warden here, which is just the photon cannon, right? But it has a laser instead of a slower projectile. Other than that, though, all pretty much vanilla. So that is going to be pretty difficult here for SmrtyCakes to bust. There's still some potential. He's got pretty good Zealot Ecclesiast count here, and that one Hierophant might be able to help him focus down individual targets here on a bit of an attack move right now. He needs to pick a target and stick with it here, because he's, going back and forth between picking off individual Zealots or what have you. Then he was maybe going to go after the Pylon, but the Nexus might power that Matrix, actually. So yeah, the Matrix itself should have been the target for a while. Smarty dropping a little bit of attention here as he's going to go after that Bulwark. Another Matrix is near. Worker advantage only 5 for Arbuz, so he doesn't want to lose too much, but there's no Nexus for Smarty, so he can replace them afterwards anyway, and it doesn't look like a single one went down. So just infrastructure and a couple of military losses here as Smarty waits for his next round. It feels like he should have more units coming. It doesn't really seem like that's going to be the case. Only one of those Dracodons is particularly wounded, and we do have another Bulwark warping in, so that's going to be another target. Not canceled there for Arbuz. You've got an Ecclesiast in the mineral line, which might have been a mistake, but it's actually going to help out a lot. Every time the Ecclesiast attacks a target, allies near that target will get shields back, so pretty good for anti-melee. Obviously, very often used versus Zerg as a result. Dracodon's coming in, or Zealots coming in rather, for the flank, but they're not really able to finish the job onto the Dracodon there. Again, the anti-melee Ecclesiast working very, very well to reduce its DPS. And now we've got Warden Bulwark, and of course another Warden back there that's going to block the ridge. But it'll be canceled, so no worries. That was just an emergency hold anyway. Well, Arbuz has done pretty well for somebody who's only got 2 gates. Remember, we've got 5 for SmrtyCakes. Like, he's really going for it. A 3rd gate here, mostly just to sort of slow things down. He's also got an embassy finished up here, and I think Smarty is reaching the limits of his production in terms of how much money he can actually get on the one base. Even my dog is displeased, scoffing at SmrtyCakes' offering. He's going for a lattice behind this? Oh, and we've got 2 Stargate coming up for Arbuz. Okay. Well, the Dracodons are definitely going to be a big deal in this fight, especially since you can't really, like, stop their DPS from coming in, whereas the Zealot Ecclesiast ball definitely needs to actually make contact. The Dracodons can do so from afar, comparatively. And they're tanky enough that you're not really going to be able to bust them with just Ecclesiasts either, so it's not like you can use that mid-range area. The concentration not quite there. Embassy and Gateway will finish up, and Defensive Warden in the main is probably pretty good for any run-by shenanigans. Actually, I wonder if that Vassal was meant for... I'm thinking Manifolds for Armor Pen, because you need the Armor Pen versus things like the Dracodon and the Structures, but it would be funny if there was supposed to be like one Vassal sent over here and the Warden kind of like stops it from really being a big problem. Oh no, the rallies were not corrected. This isn't StarCraft 1. You could just use your one control group there to set your rallies if you really need to. A lot of Dracodons out for Arbuz. This looks like a very dominant position. He's 15 workers up and counting. His Witness will get a good look at the army and whatever else is going on, so no worries there. You can see him kind of... I think that might have been a rally, actually, but yeah, it was. But it actually still has the, decisive moment here with Smarty moving forward. He's actually going to shut down the Bulwark. That's going to allow him to just kind of sidestep most of this and try to surround the Dracodons, which do have to be microed. Thankfully, Arbuz is chasing with his entire army. But, this is still a pretty scary amount of Zealot Ecclesiasts. It's just, if this gets stuffed and Exemplars are on the way here, they're probably about 10 seconds away from completion. If this army dies, I think all of SmrtyCakes' chances in game number 1 evaporate here. And with the Dracodons shellacking, there's still so many. They're whittling down the Ecclesiast. I think, Arbuz knows he's making air units. He just snipes all of the anti-air. It's pretty much a wrap. Now, Hierophant has been made aware. This is a good rotation of units out of Smarty. But he has nothing that shoots up that can actually damage the Exemplar. So tanky and 3 armor. Nothing to scoff at here. The Ecclesiast's targeting it, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. That Stargate might go down before the Gladius finishes, but I think there's enough Gateway production here that it doesn't really matter, right? I think Arbuz is about ready to close this one out. GG. And it will be game number 1 for ArbuzBudesh. I actually forgot to mention this because, of course, I was busy yapping about all the things I think about the players. I did ref this series, so I do know its ultimate outcome, but I was definitely not paying attention because I don't remember half of the stuff that happened in that game. I was multitasking pretty hardcore while in the lobby and in the matches. So one thing that really stood out to me about that match was actually the fact that Smarty still goes for the 5-gate after losing the Hierophant. It is a little unfortunate for him that he scouted downwards instead of directly to his opponent, whereas Arbuz had found his opponent first. So a little bit of luck going Arbuz's way there. But conversely, I think Arbuz kind of bungled the micro a little bit. That's something I definitely didn't recall, is how sloppy that actually was, how Smarty looked like he might have had a look in, militarily speaking. We'll have to see what kind of redemption lies ahead, or is Smarty just going to keep going Omega Gate, and is Arbuz going to swat him down with the 2-gate defensive moves? Let's get into game 2. All right, boys and girls, game 2. SmrtyCakes, ArbuzBudesh. I don't remember these colors at all, so this game was erased from my memory. Japanese Violet, Dark Lavender. Damn, the Nexus should have been a dead giveaway. And that's ArbuzBudesh. And in the bottom left, we have SmrtyCakes. This looks like Celadon, but it's Vine Green. Okay, well, I'll have to redeem myself in game number 3. And then, you know, hopefully SmrtyCakes can extend play. We go into game 4, game 5, epic decider. See who faces Krankendow in the next match. And then, of course, in the next coming days, we will have the qualifiers, you know, the qualification series uploaded. Also worth pointing out, Acropolis number 3, it's here, it's ready, Gauntlet Stage A, sign-ups open. They will close today. No, tomorrow. Sorry, I'll have another announcement tomorrow because today's video is going on live on the same day that I'm recording it. So they will close Friday, and definitely a big deal there. So get yourselves signed up if you want to. We have 9 competitors already ready to go, ready and raring to go. And the competition will begin on Saturday. It's actually going to be a double lattice for Arbuz. The theory behind this makes sense. I don't know what Smarty wanted to make out of the lattice. Even on a repeat viewing, I have no idea what Unity may or may not have queued up there. I was not paying close enough attention to that because there was so much conflict on the other side of the map. But that was okay. Idols. Normally you go like either Sim or Vassal. So Idol first. I mean, that does add up. They're mostly useful versus like Legionnaires in the early stages of the game. They're pretty good at reposting a Legionnaire like push. If you're facing Shambler, who used to do this all the time, that was a build that some Protosses like to do. Okay, but Idol Manifold makes a lot more sense when you're factoring in the idea that like, hey dude, my opponent's going to be going for this Mass Zealot Ecclesias ball. And, you know, that works out a lot. The Idol will kill the Scribe before it can actually scout the complexion of the triple lattice opener here for Arbuz. So Smarty is not immediately aware of what's going on, and he's stuttering his Ecclesias there just so that he can try to orb block it to slap it down, but the range is a little bit too low, so it looks like the 3-gate will be scouted. And at this point, Arbuz, he can feel pretty confident that, like, okay, I'm going to be safe. This is such a wild thing to say, but I mean, Arbuz is rocking with lattice units. They can't really egress very good, right? They're there for like buying time and then waiting for bigger tech. It's kind of like how Stockade armies tend to be a little bit more brittle, but it's in its own unique way because you can attack with Stockade armies. You can't attack with lattice armies nearly as well. At least I haven't seen anybody attempt to do that, right? And so I would dead ass would have just like scouted that and then they scout my 3rd gate, I kill the Scribe, cancel, go Nexus or something. You know what I mean? That's 100%, 1000% what I would have done here. Because you're not under any threat in SmrtyCakes' position. And he's itemizing for a composition that's meant to just weather the storm. And so if I can just, I know he's going to go Nexus with this. If I can just go my own Nexus, get my own completely different tech that is going to be really good, like I go Ardent for a Cantor Positron, or I go like Rogue Gallery, Charlatan, you know, Grand Library, Herald Storm, you know, stuff like that. So all of those would be pretty reasonable options here. I think maybe the Rogue Gallery might be the weakest actually, but it really depends on like what Arbuz's transition out of is, as far as like where he's going. I guess like Charlatan needs to combo with something else. So I guess you could do like Charlatan Ardent, but that's a lot of Vespian. I don't know if you'd have that. Anyway, point is, Smarty could have done a more like slightly delayed macro build into some kind of sick timing attack with a tier 2 structure. And we would have been in a very different world because I feel like Arbuz would not have the gusto for that. He's especially, I mean, it's a best of 5. Like, he's got this Vassal out for scouting, which he certainly would have been able to spot the Nexus at that point and then make alterations. And maybe, you know, I think it's safe to say that Arbuz is a stronger player overall in terms of his base mechanics, strategic understanding, etc., than somebody like Smarty, who's still on the rise in that respect. And you got to put some respect on his name for it, too. But, yeah, definitely something where I'm thinking about it like, Arbuz probably still would have been able to win the day, but that strategy feels better than going Mass Legionnaire into somebody who's going Idols, right? So, I mean, at the very least, the Mass Legion, he could actually hit him with a tidal wave and it could crash over. I mean, the idol count is only 5. He's actually indexed into a lot of manifolds, and manifolds have the armor pen increase, right? But, like, that's not very useful versus Legionnaires who have no armor. You know, they'll work out okay versus the Hierophant, but that's about it. So, Hierophant Legionnaire, the Ecclesiasts leading the charge in a funny way. We've got the Gateway, we've got the Bulwark, we've got the Warden. This is a little bit of an uncomfortable setup here for Smarty to attack into. It's very balled up by the ramp. So, we'll see what he ends up wanting to do. Does he just smell blood in the water here? Manifolds are at least hit scan, so idols won't be able to, like, idols will miss the Legionnaires during their teleport. Oh yeah, we're actually seeing a big collapse onto that. Problem is that I think now he's shored up the defenses, right? He's gone for the Manifolds, and Smarty's just gonna GG. 5.5 minutes deep, and Arbuz is already up 2-0. Pretty easy, honestly, for Smarty's opponent there. We hate to see it because Arbuz, I feel like he did exactly what he needed to do, but Smarty had the opportunity to potentially just pivot the strat, and he didn't want to do it, and I don't know why. Maybe I will get a chance to hear from him in the comments if he's feeling like he wants to talk about that. But anyway, we're going to game 3. I don't even remember the map. Let's take a quick peek. The game number 3 is Near Impact, so we will take a look at that right now. ArbuzBudesh in the bottom right as our Vine Green Protoss is indeed going to be rocking out on Near Impact with a 2-0 start to this series. Oh, I just realized SmrtyCakes was Zerg here this whole time. Sorry about that. I turned you into a Quasilisk, dude. Which is really funny because he was a Legionnaire in the last game, obviously. SmrtyCakes in the top left as our Legionnaire of the Protoss army. Oh, is this Glacial? There you go. All right, Glacial Protoss. See, I told you guys I'd redeem myself in game 3. Okay, so Smarty is up here in the top left. You gotta show us something different, Smarty. I know you're going Gateway first. That's fine. That doesn't matter. Most Protoss builds are Gateway first. So Arbuz going for Lattice again. I think, you know, if at first you don't succeed, try again. I understand that logic. At the same time, by the way, this Gateway kind of screws up the pathing of this scribe on that minerals. Could actually matter if this is a one-base Gateway all in again. But from Arbuz's perspective, and I talked about this in another series recently as well, is like, if something that you're doing is working, you don't need, it's not incumbent on you to change tactics. Arbuz still did change his strategy from game 1 to game 2. I guess probably because game 1 of the 2 matches was obviously more competitive. Smarty had a chance to maybe bust him at the Nexus, even though if it was like a slimmer one. And so he's like, all right, let me just go for the hard counter. Like the strategy that's like really, really hard to make things happen. And like when you scout a hard counter, by the way, the answer is not to continue doing what that thing hard counters. The answer is to pivot your own strategy. And so Smarty has to like feel that, scout that out, sniff that out, and then be like, okay, I see what's up. You know, the really early scout from Arbuz is probably too early to tell if this is a normal build or what, but at least he scouts if there's like any ridiculous cheeses going on. It's going to be 3 gate on 1 base, so Smarty will probably not be showing us anything in particular that is that different. And we've got triple Lattice for Arbuz, so all's well that ends well, I tell ya. Is it like 1 idol, multiple manifolds? I guess this is for like a really fast Zealot push or something. If you have like multiple manifolds, you can ignore all of the armor of the Zealot if you have 3 manifolds. So that must be what it is. It's like triple manifold ignores all the armor of the Zealot, plus the idol will deal some splash damage. It's kind of cute. It's kind of cute. He's even going to keep a scribe down here from the scout. Probably halt production on some stuff. No, he's actually going to pull back up. He's not going to bother expanding off of that. Those adaptations, though. Oh, yeah, never mind. He's definitely doing it. Yeah, this is fine. Like, people will say, like, you know, oh, you made this production, but you didn't use it. Like, the bottom line is you made it in case you needed it, and now you know that you don't need it, right? So you scouted that it's triple gate. You scouted that it's, you scouted that it's double gate. You scouted that your opponent is not apparently going to change tactic, as we have 2 more gateways pop down, 3 more gateways in total. Yeah, he's actually going to go 6 gate on 1 base. I think, yeah, this is the most gates that he's made on 1 base, isn't it? Maybe not. I can't actually recall how many gates he put down on Blackwater. It might be the same. We went from a Pronago map port, in a port of a Brood War map by Freakling and somebody else, I can't remember, in Mass Destruction, to a Biddyby map in Blackwater, and now a Jujic map in Near Impact. So getting to represent the mappers that have contributed towards Acropolis number 3's map pool. I mean, okay, so the one thing that you can say is that obviously there are Zealots here in this army instead of Legionnaires, so they won't get shellacked as much. But I actually think Legionnaires, I mean, they're not better than Zealots in this, but they're not that much worse if they're worse at all. And the reason I say that is because of the manifolds, dude. He's got so many manifolds, you can't even snipe down ones to make it so that your Zealots are useful again. If this was a Drac army, that would be completely different. If it was like Drac Hyro, you know, you could definitely do some damage. So what I'm saying is you could even go mass gate on one base and just pick different units. And that would also be enough of a strategic change. Like, this Vassal is going to come in here and be like, oh, okay. And then obviously potentially do some stuff, do some shenanigans. He's actually going to pull it back because he's busy microing his army elsewhere. And yeah, Smarty's like, damn, okay. Well, you already got a gateway. You got a Warden finishing up. Manifolds, idols. He's going to go in for another one, but this is such a narrowed choke. Arbuz learning from Shambler with the building positioning. He's going to kill a couple of Sims and stuff, but I don't think it's going to be nearly enough. He's going to be held up immediately. So what's the play here, Smarty? Oh. Okay. The play is to GG. God damn it. All right, lads. Listen, everybody was telling me, you know, oh, PvP must be the new ZVZ in as compared to StarCraft 1. You can just go Gateway Wars and that's it. Well, Arbuz just fucking smacked y'all down, so you owe an apology to Arbuz, I guess. I don't know. You're not really. Apologize to Kasuga. Everybody was like, goddamn Kasuga, you noob. You didn't build enough gateways. No. The answer is not the gateway. Clearly. Smarty, I hope he can do better when he goes into Acropolis number 3's Gauntlet stage. I guess it's possible he just gateways his way into the Battlement stage. But I would love to see some character development. I'd love to see some growth in strategic, you know, positioning of units is one thing. But how about selection of units as well? Strategic selection of units needs to be a little bit different, I think. But it all was Protoss mirror for him. He played 2 series, right? One versus Kasuga, one versus Arbuz, and that's the nature of a single elimination bracket. So we come to this moment. ArbuzBudesh is moving on to face Krankendao. That will be an exciting qualification series. I'll see if I can get Neblime to join me for those. But thanks for checking out this series. And yeah, I mean, it was less than a half an hour. Such is the way of the Mass Gate. Here today, gone tomorrow. SmrtyCakes will be back in the gauntlet, I'm sure. Arbuz, at the very least, he looked unflapped, right? No worries there. Crank versus Arbuz should be a real hype matchup. And on the other side of the bracket, we've got the surprise, the bamboozle, the Shambler versus Jack Yelangsky. I never thought that would be a qualification series, at least not in the Tribunal stage when there's Shopkeeper Dog and Top Ramen. I thought we were going to go for a TVT qual or something, but here we are. Let's see what happens.